Hello, my best virtual friends. Now we have a new episode. Why did wealthy older women love Hitler? Is the question. Hermine Hoffmann will be our example. In this episode, we focus primarily on the women who surrounded Hitler. Yes, throughout history, few figures have provoked as much fascination and speculation about their private life, but also about the relationship with the woman as Adolf Hitler did. His relationships with women, whether maternal, romantic, or platonic, offer a different, but I think a necessary psychological insight also into his personality. Let's see. From his early years in Munich until his final days in the Führerbunker in Berlin 1945, Hitler surrounded himself with women until the last day of his life. We see the marriage with Eva Braun only hours before the death. Of with women of very different backgrounds. We have admirers. We have the so-called patron type, the secretary, and also the young devoted follower. Some were drawn to him as a charismatic leader and political visionary. Others felt a more intimate, almost protective affection for the lonely, tormented private man behind the public scene, behind the public image. The topic of women in general has often come up in the media. It seems as if we are dealing with a well-known motive. We know from storytelling, the beauty and the beast. A story like we have a story from the dark, deep, not from the Middle Ages, but a story from the deep Nazi ages area. A motive that recurs in many fairy tales as well as we know. It's in really very old motive. Several multi-part documentary also from the German television have been made on the team woman and Hitler and their relationship, usually emphasizing not only the supporters and lovers, but also the victims, the women who took their own lives, for example, because of him, and there were a few of them. Yeah, moreover, Hitler liked to be surrounded by a circle of women, for example, his secretaries. So he liked it to be always surrounded by this woman as woman, because he needed them like a sort of to keep him away from all the political stress, and he liked to pass time with them during meals and other occasion. It was, we can also say, like a stress relief for him. Yeah, this was reminiscent for me of the courtiers at medieval courts, or also of the harems of the Eastern princes, except that in Hitler's case, sexuality was pushed more in the background. So it was not the harem type, and only speculation surrounds it. Some the all the sexuality and Hitler, they are only speculation. They Some say that he was interested. Yes, he was interested, like a classical heterosexual man, but mainly in the erotic, in the erotic atmosphere, but not in the classical sexual interaction. Yeah, let's put it this way. Rulers, dictators, and politicians are human beings as well. Yes, there are. And they also, when there are some strange type of human beings, and they have also their own relationships. Some have more relationships, some fewer. We have also all the different types of relationships. Also, normal people have. We meet also with the politician Joseph Goebbels, our propaganda minister, the Reich propaganda minister of the Third Reich. Everybody knows him, the one who wrote the diary. Yeah, he was known for his affairs. He had a lot of them, and mainly with actresses from the film business, because he was some guy of boss of the film business. And we can also say that neither Goebbels nor Hitler was particularly attractive, like from outside. Yeah, they were not the classical. I don't know, like Brad Pitt style. I don't know. I don't know better name now to say. They were not the good-looking guys. Yeah, I think Joseph Goebbels and Hitler both were really not the good-looking from outside, but both attracted women, also the beautiful ones, independent women who had no need to, because of money or other interests. It was not. There were also independent women, also independent actresses with money and independent life, but they were attracted to them. Yes, even Heinrich Himmler, our Reichsführer SS, the chief of police and the SS units, who was regarded as a stiff and also British man from a very Catholical upbringing, a very conservative background, and he had issues with sexuality. We know that until he was 25, he had no really intimate relationships with women, and he was like the guy who wanted to appear as the honest, bureaucratic, rule-abiding to the outside world. But also he, our very correct, we can say, had a mistress, his personal secretary and later also lover, Hedwig Potthast. Patty Podcast lived from 1912 to 1994, so she was quite younger than Himmler. She was for many years his secretary and mistress and bore him two children. We can also say that he lived like a sort of parallel life here. Yeah, so two children, a son Helge, born in 1942, and a daughter, Nanette Dorothea, born in 1944. Yeah, throughout world history, many political leaders have been known for similar reasons. A leader must possess a certain charisma, and that's attractive to women. Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, and their love story with the Egyptian Cleopatra. We saw it in several Hollywood films. The love story. Yeah, if one could name we can say the champion, the guy who had the most women in all human history. There's a theory that this probably could have been Genghis Khan, the great Mongol leader. Yeah, it is reported, they reported that he had 500 concubines. And a concubine, it's not only a prostitute, or I don't know, for one night or something, but a concubine, it's almost one status lower than a married woman. So she was in a concubine. It was like a woman you had for a longer time. It was like an official lover, and he had 500 of them, and had a lot of children with them. We can imagine every night with another concubine. I don't know what was biologically possible, but there are estimate. There are some some theories, like one of my former professors of Iranian studies in Vienna, where I studied also Iranian studies for together with Orientalistics in Vienna, and there we had an exam on Iranian history. Iranian history, a very interesting topic, very interesting. It is a country with a very long history and with ups and down, and also the Mongols played their role because in the 13th century they occupied also this Iranian territory, we can say. And he said, our professor, that there's a theory that every third person in Asia in general carries the genetic material of Genghis Khan because he had so many wives, and and they have traces left. There are traces in Afghanistan, or I don't know, in all these Middle Asian countries. Every third have, at a degree, some genetic material of this Genghis Khan. The list of such persons can go on. We have also to mention Mussolini. Mussolini, who the Italian fascist leader, who in many ways served as a role model for Hitler, at least at the beginning. Later, he was only the junior partner, yeah, a little bit only following Hitler. And yeah, that was a role he hated at the end because he was also criticized that he is only following, and he didn't want to hear that. But Mussolini was a true womanizer and a macho. Until his last days, he had affairs. Yeah, so what about Hitler? Yeah, much. What about Hitler? Like concrete, what details we have about the relationship of women, or Hitler's relationship with women?